Hello there, grade 2. Today, we are going to learn how to subtract numbers in two ways. One is the static subtraction, and the other one is the dynamic subtraction. This is quite the same with adding numbers as well. It's just that we are subtracting. Okay? So, dito sa static subtraction, there's no regrouping. And for the dynamic subtraction, we have regrouping. So if in addition the regrouping is carryover, for dynamic subtraction, we call it as borrowing. Okay, it is known here in the Philippines, the term is borrowing. Okay, just to let you know, by the term itself, borrow, no? When do we borrow? We only borrow if we have none, if we cannot. Okay? You have something to write, you don't have a pencil, you cannot write without a pencil, so you borrow a pencil. Okay? So if you can, there's no need for you to borrow. Just like in static subtraction. Let's try to make use of the term take away. Okay? Kasi mas sensible kasi siya eh. It makes more sense. Okay? Iba ko lang muna to. Just to give us more space. Okay. So for static subtraction, no regrouping. Let's try to make use of the term take away para masanay tayo. Take away, to take away from something. If you have 5 chocolates, I'm going to take away 2. How many chocolates do you have left? You have 5 chocolates. Teacher Mark is going to take away 2. How many chocolates do you have left? You have 3. Okay? So yan ang i-try natin yung term. For no regrouping, ibig sabihin walang mga borrow-borrow, no borrowing and such. Let's say we have 672 minus 251. Always start with the ones place. Okay, always tayo nag-uumpisa dyan. Always take note of that. Always start there. Okay, place value by place value. 2 minus 1 or 2 take away 1. If you have 2 on your fingers and you take away 1, how many is left? You have 1. Then go next to tens. You have 7. 7 minus 5 or 7. Take away 5. You have 7 fingers. Take away 5. Well, not literally to take it away. Okay, but just to close. Okay, close 5. Take away 5. You have a remaining of 2. The same goes for 6. Going to the next place value, the hundreds place. We have 6. 6 in your fingers. Take away 2. How many fingers do you have left? That's not folded. You have 4. Okay, so that's what you mean by takeaway. I mean for no regrouping or the static subtraction. Okay, if you notice, wala tayong ginawang borrowing. We did not borrow because you can take away 1 from 2. You can take away 5 from 7. You can take away 2 from 6. Okay, so ganyan lang yan. This is actually easy, pero I'll just give you another example. 563 minus 223. Okay. You have 3, take away 3. If you have 3 on your fingers, remove 3, you have none. If you have none, you write 0. 6, take away 2. You have 6 there and take away 2. What do you have? You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Para mas klaro lang ha yung illustration, I'm gonna take 2, 1, 2. What's left is 1, 2, 3, 4. This is just to illustrate. Okay, you are not supposed to use sticks. Kasi mas maganda if you are doing it mentally. Okay. Next, 5 minus 2, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Take away 2. Just for me to illustrate to you so that you can see. So 5 minus 2 is 3. Okay? Now, again, we did not borrow anything from anyone. So going to the next activity, dito na tayo sa dynamic subtraction, regrouping, or famously known as borrowing dito sa Philippines. Oh, magbaborrow tayo. Okay. Let it be. Okay lang. No worries. Let's start with tens muna. Okay. Let's say we have 30 minus 5. You might tell me, Teacher Mark, it's 25. Okay. Meron kasi logically, you can get the answer right away. It's 25. You don't have to to solve that. Yes. But how do you do it properly? How are you supposed to do this properly? Imagine you have none. You have 0. Okay? 0. Can you take away something from it? You have no chocolates. For example, Arya. Arya has no chocolates at all. 0 yung chocolates niya. Then can Shan get chocolates from Arya? Of course not, because wala. Arya doesn't have any chocolates, so hindi pwede. So Shan cannot get any chocolates from Arya. What Arya needs to do is to borrow from a friend. Okay. So let's say in this case, this 0 needs to borrow a certain value from the next number, which is in this case is 3. All you have to do is just to take one value from 3. Just remove 1. It's always 1. Okay? It's always 1. So if you're gonna remove 1 from 3 or take away 1 from 3, you now have 2. You can just rewrite it above it. Okay? And what happens to the 0 now? The 0, taking the 0 originally, and remember earlier you borrowed 1, so 1 goes here. The 1 goes there. Okay? The logical explanation of this is better, pero this is like a shortcut technique on how to do this. Okay? Teacher Mark, where did you get this one? Okay. So technically, we just removed it from this value over here. Okay? 3 minus 1 gives us 2. The 2 is already here. The 3 is no longer there. Kasi na-erase na siya. We already removed the value. And where did this 1 come from? Ito. It's from this one. Okay? It's always 1. You always add 1 to that certain number there on top. Okay. Erase ko lang to again to avoid confusion. Okay. Wait lang. So earlier, Arya doesn't have any chocolates. But now, look at Arya now. Arya now has 10. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 chocolates. And Shan wants to take away 5 from Arya. Is it okay lang, Arya? Kawawa naman si Arya. But I think it's okay. So Shan will now take away 5 from Arya. How many chocolates left? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we now have 5 here. Okay, I'll just erase this part to avoid confusion. Now going to the next place value. Okay, we have 2 and there's no value here. Okay, if you notice, there's none. So all you have to do is just to bring down that number, which is 2. Bring down nyo lang. And the answer is 25. Okay? Let's try to answer a similar one, similar to what we did earlier. It's just that ngayon, it's not 0 na. It's no longer 0. Okay? Let's say 43 minus 17. Okay. So if you notice again, um, you have a smaller value here, which is 3. If you have 3 chocolates, 1, 2, 3, can you take away 7? Can you take away 7? No. You only have 3 chocolates. No one can take 7 chocolates from you. That's impossible. Okay, so what happens now is that this 3 will borrow from the next number, like what we did earlier. And how many do you need to borrow? It's always 1. Okay, we're going to borrow 1 from that number, which is in this case is 4. Okay, if you remove 1 from 4, so that's 4. If you remove 1, what is left? You have 3. 3 will be placed here, and 3 will now also change to copying the number just like earlier. It's 0, so you copied 0 there. So here it's 3. Since it's 3, you have to copy 3 there. How many did you borrow from 4? Only 1. So you also add 1 there. Okay, it's always 1. Prating 1 yan. Okay, always 1. So what do we do now? From here, you can now start subtracting. You have 13, take away 7. So logically, you can just subtract that. Else, pwede tayo mag-show ng removing 7. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And if you are going to remove 7, tama ba? 7. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. How many do you have left? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we can now say that this is 6 here. Okay, but then again, Teacher Mark doesn't want you to use sticks. Okay, what is the technique here? Ano nga ba yung technique dito? Okay, papakita ko lang ha. Okay. Take note of that. 13 minus 7. Okay, take note of that. 13 minus 7. The actual technique here is ganito. Okay. When you are adding numbers, you put the bigger number in your head. Okay, bigger number in your head, then you continue counting, putting the smaller number in your hands or in your fingers. Okay, but in subtraction, it's the other way around. Okay, so sa subtraction, ang gagawin natin ngayon, we put the smaller number in your head and continue counting until you reach the bigger number. Okay, we have 13. Balik tayo dun ha. Pakita ko lang again. You have 13 and 7. 13 and 7. What is bigger, 13 or 7? Okay, so 13. Ang 7, which is ang smaller number, put it in your head. 7, and continue counting until you reach 13. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. How many do you have in your fingers? 6. Okay, so ganun lang ang process of subtracting. It's the other way around of doing subtraction. I mean addition. Sorry. So yeah, ganyan ang proper way to subtract. Not using sticks. You are not preschoolers anymore. Okay? You have to make use of, kung pwede, ganyan muna. Practice lang muna. And then later on, you can do it mentally na. Okay? Going back. Then we have 3 minus 1. Okay, this is a smaller number na talaga. So, since it's smaller, you don't have to make use of that process kanina. Pero kayo na bahala. If there's a need for you just to get the accuracy, just to get it correctly, just to make sure that you'll get the correct answer, go ahead. Okay. So 3 minus 1 will give you 2. So the final answer here is 26. Okay, try natin another example. Let's say you have 456 minus 264. 75. Okay, try natin to ngayon. Now, you might ask me, Teacher Mark, how do we make use of the static, and when do we use the dynamic subtraction? You should know once you cannot take away a number. Okay? Once you cannot take away a number from the other number, it's the time that it should be the dynamic subtraction. Okay? You don't have to tell me, teacher, is this dynamic? Should we do dynamic here? Should we do static here? You should know by your own. By simply identifying once you'll not be able to take away or subtract from the other number. Claro? Okay, for example, let's try to do this. You have 6 minus 5. Ganyan muna tayo. 6 take away 5. I just need to draw that para lang to be guided tayo mga kids. Okay? 6 take away 5. Tatanggalin natin ang 6 take away 5. You have, for those who are having difficulty, so sabi ko na kanina, yung using the technique, when subtracting, put the smaller number in your head and continue counting until you reach the bigger number. So 6 minus 5. 5, 6. So the answer is 1. Okay. 5 take away 7. Can you take away 7 from 5? If you have 5 fingers up, can you remove 7 from it? If you have 5 candies, can you give your friend 7 candies? Of course not. Okay? This is the time that we are going to borrow. Okay, we need to borrow. From where should we borrow? From the next place value. You don't borrow from 6, but borrow from the next or the bigger place value. Okay, ganyan lang yan. Para mas madali. Okay. So 5 will now borrow from 4. How many do you need to borrow? It's always, what did I tell you earlier? It's always 1. So which means if you take 1 from 4, 4 will now become, take 1 from 4, becomes 3. Okay. So 3 lang. Then again, like what we did earlier, we just copied the number. Remember, we are copying the number. Whatever the number is, kinakopy lang natin. So in this case, this number is 5. So you just need to copy 5 there. And what do you need to put there? Doon sa tabi ng 5 ngayon, since you borrow, how many did you borrow from 4 again? You borrowed 1. So that 1 is what you're supposed to put beside 5, which will make it 15. Not the other way around, it's not 51, just 15. Okay, na dito na naman tayo ngayon. 15 take away 7. Okay, you have two numbers, 15 and 7. 15 and 7. Which is bigger? 15? Which is smaller rather? Which is smaller, 15 or 7? 7 is smaller. So put 7 in your head, 7, and continue counting until you reach 15. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Wait lang, nagkamali si Teacher Mark. Sana tayo? Go back to the... Again, 15 lang pala. Nagkamali si teacher. Sorry. Nag-close kasi ng eyes teacher na wala ng focus. Okay, going back. Again, it's only 7 to 15. 7 in your head. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Nag-open na eyes si teacher Mark para hindi ma-confused. I apologize for that. Sorry, kiddos. Okay, how many fingers do you see? Up, naka-up. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so you write 8 there. And finally, we have 3 minus 2. We have 1. Okay, sorry kiddos. Okay, nagkamali lang si teacher Mark. Sorry. I apologize. Okay, let's try to answer another one. Worst case scenario that you can experience. You have 300 minus 142. Why did I call this as the worst case scenario? Worst, because as you can notice, now let's try to check. You have two zeros here, 1, 2. And if you see, if you'll try to do the process, 0 take away 2 is not possible. You cannot remove 2 from 0. So of course, if you cannot, what do we do first? We borrow. Now, if you notice that this 0 needs to borrow from this one, the problem is that it's also 0. So how can you borrow something if there's nothing? So paano anong gagawin natin ngayon? Hello to my Doraemon collections there. Hi. Hello Doraemon. Hello SpongeBob. Hello We Bear Bears. Okay. So, what do we do here? The second 0 should help this 0 out. How? Anong gagawin niya? It is this 0 that needs to borrow first from this number. Okay, magbaborrow ang itong 0 na to. Bakit niya kailangan magborrow? Why does this 0, the second 0, needs to borrow from 3? It is for this 0 to be able to borrow from it later. Okay? So, try natin one by one. Example. 0 needs to borrow from 3. This 3, take away how many? We always borrow how many? 1. Always borrow 1. So, that's 3 minus 1 will give you 2. Okay, we have 3, 1, 2, 3. Then remove 1. You have 2. Okay, para mas klaro lang. Okay? So again, anong ginagawa natin dito? You copy the number. And yung ni-borrow ninyo, the one that you borrowed, will be placed there. Now, that 0 earlier is now a 10. Which means this 0 now can now borrow from this number. Okay, magbaborrow na siya. If this 0 will borrow from 10, this 10 will now become what? How many do we borrow? Again, we borrow 1. So 10 take away 1 will give us 9. I'm gonna remove this part first para hindi kayo ma-confused. Okay. 9 na yan siya. Magiging 9 na lang siya because we removed 1. And for this digit over here, copying the 0 because it's a 0. And what did you borrow from 10 earlier? It's 1. So you put 1 there. Then from here, you can start subtracting na. Again, this is the dynamic subtraction. More processes. Okay lang, but you're gonna make use of this until you grow older, until you become as old as your parents, your grandparents. You will still make use of this process. I promise you. Okay? So 10 take away 2. 10 take away 2 will give you, if you do not know what to do, andito na naman tayo. I hope hindi magkakamali si Teacher Mark. Nakakaya naman. Okay. So, which is smaller, 10 or 2? Okay, 2 in your head. Continue counting. Hindi lang ako mag-close eyes. Baka magkakamali na naman ako. Okay, we have 2. Continue counting until you reach 10. So, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Ilang fingers tayo meron? Naka-up. It's 8. Okay. Doing the same process here, 9 take away 4. 9 take away 4 daw. 9 take away 4. Ay, hindi ko na pinakita yung video, sorry. Okay. Yan na. We now have 8. Sorry. Okay, sinulat ko ng 8 dito. Okay. So next we now have 9 take away 4. We have 9 take away 4. Paano ang 9 take away 4? So 9 minus 4, which is smaller? Obviously, it's 4. So 4, continue counting until you reach 9. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Open na eyes ni Teacher Mark para na magkamali. So, the answer is 5. Okay. So, pasensya. Open na lang talagang eyes para hindi tayo magkakamali. Okay, forgot to switch again. Sorry. 9 take away 4 will give us 5. And finally, you have 2 take away 1, which will give you 1. Okay, so that's how you're supposed to do the activities on the book. Okay, I don't want you to follow the format of the book, what it tells you. Kasi this is basically complicating the process. So I advise you to just follow this process. It doesn't matter how big and how big the number is and how small you're going to take away. Just follow this process. Okay? Follow nyo lang yung ano yung ginawa natin kanina. And of course, when you subtract, don't forget to follow or to align the numbers. So, what do you mean by align? Ano ang pag-ibig sabihin ng align? So, for example, you're asked to subtract, let's say, 48 minus 5. So, you have to align it. You have to write it as 48 minus 5. 5 should be aligned with 8. Okay? Ganun dapat. If you're asked to subtract 487 minus 95, so it should be written as 487, and you have to align minus 95. Ganun lang. Okay, you have to align. You have to align, especially mga last numbers, i-align nyo. Yun ang pinaka-importante. Okay, so that's it. Make use of a paper to solve para you can practice this process. Later na yung mga advanced subtraction para kasi you don't even know, most of you, some of you maybe, don't even know yet the process. Okay, so because I don't know your strength, I'm not your teacher, hindi ko kayo naging teacher last school year, so I don't know if who among you are good and who among you are doing bad. Hindi naman bad, pero at some point nahihirapan. Okay? So, you may now proceed with your the remaining pages of your worksheets. Okay, that's it. Bye-bye.